Come on in, have your coffee, and grab a chair. We're going to get started. We're going to get started doing nothing, as usual. The board meeting went over pretty well. I think most people were on time, but there were a few scragglers. They'd write comments like the day after and stuff. Next time, they'll have to get the message. They should be on time. Anyway, we all know Glenn Yarbrough, I hope. Is there anyone out there that hasn't heard of Glenn Yarbrough? Well, if you haven't, raise your hand. He's a very popular American folk singer. And he was actually born January 19th in 1930 in Milwaukee. He actually rose to fame as the lead tenor in the Limelighters. Now, I'll have to do some research on the Limelighters because maybe we'll have to do, a video on them and talk about them and what Glenn's influence was. I'm trying to get myself situated in this. It just doesn't look normal, this video. Anyway, so he's credited actually with kind of creating the Limelighter signature sound, whatever that is. Some of his notable songs are Baby, the Rain Must Fall, It's Gonna Be Fine, and San Francisco Bay Blues, but I'll read you some of the other ones. Lonesome, She's Too Far Above Me, Rusting in the Rain, the Bullfrog Song, Billy Goat Hill, Walk On Little Boy, and Everybody's Rich But Us. So, that's just one album of his. He passed away, I think, in, I don't know what time, when he passed. Oh, he passed away in 2016, August 11th, 2016. He was 86, and he suffered from dementia. He died from complications of dementia. Lots of times, complications of dementia are things like pneumonia or a fall, or sometimes malnutrition, failure to thrive, those sorts of things. So it's kind of sad that someone who was so well known, it's sad if any of us get it, but most of us are going to get it. That's probably all I'm going to talk about Glenn Yarbrough. But try and remember his songs. Baby, the Rain Must Fall is the one that keeps going through my mind. I didn't play any of his records. I'm going to try and get Alexa to play a few things, but I have to be careful because I copyright things, get you in trouble. So, one thing that I was struck by yesterday, I think, when I was reading the comments, I've been trying to really be on the comments, and make sure that I respond to as many people as possible. Sometimes I'm missing the last few comments on yesterday's video or something like that. But I'll try harder. I was struck by the fact that no one in the comments sounds like an old person. And the demographics for this channel is we're all old people. Most of us, there's a few young people, but most of us are above 70 and many of us are above 80. But when I just read the comments and, you're reading them and it's going through your mind, it doesn't sound like you would think an old person would sound like. So I think that we're all young at heart, and I think that we're not old people, we're just kids in old people's bodies. And all these things that we're remembering and that we're talking about, it's just so incredible that we've been able to do them. And some of us reading the comments have much more difficult lives than others. I guess that's just life. But even those people are feeling something. Something is influencing them to feel young because they don't complain. I have not seen any complaints about anyone's lot in life. I think I'm going to start complaining. Anyway, so I thought I'd tell you that because I was kind of struck by it. And an 85-year-old woman, I know I probably said this before, wrote a comment that she was doing her housework, listening to the music, and she had her cherries in the snow lipstick on, 85 years old. Now, I told that to one of my friends, and she says, what the heck is she wearing lipstick for in the house with no one around? She doesn't get it. It doesn't matter if there's no one around, if it makes you feel good. And I'm not just talking about cherries and snow because Tim is going to get upset with me. But anything, she's doing her housework with her lipstick on and listening to music. Now that is not my picture of an 85-year-old. Is it yours? It is now. So we have to keep doing things that keep us younger. It's not easy because physically we can't do a lot of things, but you have control of your mind. Your mind controls everything that you do. So you have to clean your mind of all those negative thoughts. It's not easy. I'm not going to be like one of these people that says, okay, tomorrow, no more negative thoughts, and you're going to be perfect. No, that's not human nature. That's not reality. I have negative thoughts all the time, trust me. We all do. Some more than others. Some people have been depressed their whole lives. Some people have been happy their whole lives. We're all different. We're all unique. We all deal with things differently. But the key to dealing with anything is to get control of your mind and your thoughts. And we talk about being grateful and gratitude and all those kinds of things. I think you should do a YouTube channel because it's done wonders for me. I got to tell you this. Yesterday I was sitting here and I was answering comments on my computer. I hear a knock on the door. The dog starts going crazy, and who is it but my three grandchildren. They're not actual grandchildren. They're my daughter's stepchildren, but I consider them my grandchildren. They probably don't. But they come in and they say, can we go swimming? I said, of course you can go swimming. You can. I mean, how many times do you have to tell people that they're welcome here anytime, that my home is their home? Nobody takes me up on it. Does that happen to you? So you can imagine my shock when I see them at the door. Meanwhile, my daughter is calling me on my cell phone. Well, because she calls me so much that she doesn't realize that the cell phone doesn't work in my house. So she calls me. I'm trying to deal with the kids. The phone is ringing. I pick it up. She said, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I said, no kidding. Why didn't you call on the house phone? So we get disconnected. Then she calls me again, and I go outside. We're like the Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? And my anxiety level is going up because the kids are here. I want to pay attention to the kids, and she's calling me to tell me that the kids are stopping by. I said, they're already here. Oh, well, is it okay? I said, of course it's okay. So then they say, the kids now, I'm done with talking about my daughter. So the kids, they say, do we have our bathing suits here? Well, how am I supposed to know where their bathing suits are? I said, well, did you leave them up in the bunkhouse? We probably had bathing suits up in the bunkhouse. So they go up to the bunkhouse, and guess what? There's no bathing suits up there. So they come dejectedly down the hill, down the driveway. We don't have any bathing suits. I said, well, let me fix this. So I go in the drawer, and I had, several years ago, I decided, I kept my husband's bathing suits because he was in one all the time in the summer. And I had purchased a few that were reasonably priced. So I gave them like a pile of 6 bathing suits, and I said, you can try them on. There's a large one, most of them are medium. There's an extra large one, so you should be able to find something. There's 3 of them. So they go up to the bunkhouse and they change. So they're coming down. Meanwhile, nobody's been in the water because the water is cold. We've had a terrible spring. I said, you do understand that the water's kind of cold. Oh yeah, but they had been working at my daughter's house, which she has on the market, and she has to clean up the property and stuff. So they had been working all day. So they were lucky that they came in and they were sweaty and exhausted looking, and they had been there the whole day because I would have put them to work. I had plenty of things that I could think of for them to do. Anyway, they say, I said, do you have any towels? Well, no. I said, there weren't any in the bunkhouse? No. So I say, I guess you need towels, huh? So I go and I dig through my towels, and I discovered I only have 2, like, beach towels, and I had another towel, so I gave him the towels. And then I said, please don't drown down there, please, and just have fun. So anyway, they go down and they go swimming. And I said, was it cold? And they said, yes, it was really cold, but once you got in it, which is usually the case even in the middle of the summer when it's cold, it feels cold initially and then you warm up. Once your body starts moving and I don't know, it gets equalize the temperatures, internal and external. Anyway, so then I turn around, I'm back at the computer again, and they're going in the hot tub. Now, the hot tub, let me tell you about the hot tub. I purchased the hot tub probably 10 years ago. It's probably between 8 and 10 years old, I can't remember. But it was one of those things that I said, well, I can afford it, so I'm going to get it. I have made so many, I don't consider the hot tub a mistake. I was just going to say I've made so many mistakes. And I don't consider the hot tub a mistake. We have gotten a lot of pleasure out of it. Some of the concerns that people have when they buy a hot tub is, will I use it enough? How hard is it to clean? And how expensive is it to run? Because it's running all the time, in the winter, summer, whatever. Unless you pay someone to shut it down and drain all the hoses. No, thank you. I'd rather pay the electric bill. Plus, I go in it. Now, do I go in it a lot? No. But when I want to go in it, I go in it. And I enjoy it. And I've had friends that have come over and enjoyed it. And especially the kids, they like it. So, right now, is it worth it? Probably not. It probably doesn't get used as much. But you know what? They went in it yesterday. Now, they didn't happen to notice that there's a whole ring around the hot tub. It is not dirt. It is not algae. It is something that I can't get off. It's obviously not dirt because I've only been in it like 3 times in the last 3 months. And you can't. Anyway, I have it on my list to empty the hot tub, which is easy, by the way. You just pull the plug and it just drains out. But they're sitting in there having a good time in the hot tub, and I said, you guys didn't notice the ring around the tub? No. These are like, one of the kids is a senior in college, another one's going to be a sophomore, and the other one is a senior in high school. So, no, they didn't notice. So that was good, because if I had a friend over, I would be embarrassed. because it really looks dirty, but it's not. I do all the chemicals and everything, and it's just, I cannot get, I don't think it's, you would call it scum. It's more like an elastically, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But anyway, so they were in the hot tub. Then they came in, and one of them says, I heard you're a YouTube star. Well, I perked up then, and I said, how did you know? Well, Erica told me. Erica's my daughter. I said, does she ever watch my videos? Yeah, I don't think she watches all of them. You know, they're piping in. I don't think she watches all of them, but I know she watches them. I said, when did she tell you? So they told me that she came in one day to the house. Must have been the day she discovered that I was monetized, and she said to them, guess who's monetized on YouTube? And they're throwing out all these names. And she says, my mother. She can't believe it. That's why I didn't tell anybody at first, because they wouldn't believe. I'm afraid that they would dampen my excitement over it. So now I have a captive audience. These 3 boys are here, and I'm pumping them for information. Does she watch them all the time? What does she say? What does she say? So I did that. Then I said, now come here, come here, come here. And then I show them my cards. And they were like really impressed. I showed them the towels. They were so happy for me. But I was like this vibrant person, which I've never liked that around them. I usually say, okay, now let's go around the table and tell everybody else what we're grateful for, what we're thankful for. But I was like, well, sometimes what I'm like when I'm on TV. I was all excited. I wouldn't let them go. And you know what? I don't think they wanted to go. I said, I know you kids don't want to, probably wouldn't be interested in this channel, but you should watch it occasionally so you can see what I'm up to and see what you're up against someday. And maybe you'll come and visit me more often, because I'm a much more interesting person than you thought I was. Right, kids? So they just left, and then they left, but I had a good time. I was just thrilled. I sit here day after day after day after day with not a phone call, not a knock on the door, nothing. And then out of the blue they came, so I had a captive audience. They couldn't do anything because I was talking about you guys and how fortunate I am that I found you. So then after that, then I go over to my friend Gay's house. I'm going to try and put some clips in here, but hold on one second. I'm going to pause this. I have to pause this because there's something I want to do. Okay, I'm back. I had to take my shirt off, and I recorded it. And it wasn't recording, so now I'm recording again. So anyway, I was starting to tell you that I went over to my friend's Gay's house for supper. We were supposed to have hamburgers, but she called me in the middle of the afternoon and said, Kevin, that's her son, is going to make us steaks. So come over around 5 o'clock. So I did. And when I'm there, somebody knocks on the door, and Kevin comes in with 2 dishes full of a steak dinner, and it was so good. He says, Meals on Wheels. And after he left, Gay says, he embarrasses me so much. She doesn't want anyone to think that she's having Meals on Wheels by her son. Anyway, this meal was fabulous. I took videos of Kevin delivering them, and I took videos of the meal. I have to figure out how to get those clips in here somehow. I don't know if I'll be able to do it or not. But anyway, it was the best steak I ever had. It was ribeye steak, and it had clumps of fat, and I love the fat when it's been barbecued and you suck on the fat. Oh, come on. Don't tell me that you don't do that. Maybe you do it more delicately than I do. But I loved it. And so then there was roasted green beans. But I said when I was recording it, I said, oh, look at the roasted asparagus. When I looked more closely, it didn't really look like asparagus, but it looked like green beans. It was delicious. He did it on the grill. And then corn on the cob. He always does corn on the cob, and he always does ribeye steaks, but that's expensive. They're probably like $22, $25 a pound. I don't know. And he wasn't just feeding his mother and I. He was feeding himself and his friend and a couple of other friends that were over there. So go figure. I have to take a drink of my iced tea. I know I have my coffees right here. Yep. I'll take this because I don't want you to feel bad. Anyway, so I said, I don't think I can eat all this. It was a huge plate. Well, our dinner just arrived.
That's right, Meals on Wheels for the
Look
old
at
people.
this. Meals on Wheels for the old folks.
Enjoy.
There's Gay. I'm only going to go so far up on Gay because her head's kind of strange.
All right. I need your butter.
Yes.
I need it.
Okay, take some.
Kevin is stealing her butter
Whatever you
right
need.
out of her refrigerator.
I didn't butter the corn. I just need a stick.
Well, you can take more than one stick.
All right, I'll take two.
Take what you need.
Okay, enjoy.
Kevin,
All
you're
right,
going to be
honey,
on here
love
for like a
you.
minute.
Huh?
Kevin's going to be on there like for a minute.
Okay. All the old people.
So guys, I was too busy filming Kevin because he's awful cute. But look at this. We have roasted asparagus. Yum, yum, yum.
No, we got green beans.
Are those beans?
I think.
I'm saying it's roasted asparagus. They're roasted green beans. Duh. And then corn on the cob. Can you see it? Doesn't that look good? And look at this. This is actually a really good thing for me because I don't think I've eaten a decent meal in a week.
Neither have I.
So, Gay hasn't either. She's had a rough week. Okay, I'll get back to you on my way home. Full to the gunnels. And I don't eat that much. Anyway, I ate every single thing on the plate. Well, I didn't eat the corn. I ate like a quarter of the corn. But the steak, I ate the whole entire thing. And trust me, it was not a small piece of steak. And so then, on my way, as I'm leaving, I only go over to Gay's and I eat and run. She takes good care. She's gotten used to me now. Because I used to say, she feeds me all the time. She makes me pizzas and stuff. And I don't do anything for her. Well, I went over yesterday morning and she had a bandage on her head. She had had some minor surgery on her head. And she got it wet in the shower, so I had to help her. So I do things like that. I make her laugh. Stuff like that. Anyway, so she had some muffins that she gave me that our neighbor down the street gave her because she had to make muffins for her husband because he had a function and he had to bring something. So he brings 3 dozen muffins that she made and slaved over, and every single thing on the table of food was muffins. So no one ever ate his muffins. Her muffins, the one she made him. So she gave Gay some and Gay gave me some. And so now I have muffins I only have 1 left. She gave me 3. So I'm going to have to make my double chocolate muffins. But look what I did. I made a pre-mixed jar. And I'm going to try and see if that works because now I have this fantasy that I'm going to make that and put it in this fantasy store that I don't have, that maybe I'll have. But I would be crazy to do that because then I'd have to be mailing things. So I don't think it's going to happen when common sense hits me. Anyway, I want to thank you for coming, listening to me ramble, and if you made it this far, I'm so proud of you. I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you come and bring a friend.